Good afternoon, buenas tardes, everybody. They told me that it was going to be challenging to be here today after lunch, but honestly, what I was not expecting was to have to present it after Mark. Using your words, I'm shocked. I think I'm almost close to the midlife crisis, and what I can tell you is that people like you make this world really better. Thank you very much. So, what can I tell you now? I'm not going to talk about the company, neither the brand. You may know it. I just want to share you in the next 70 minutes a little bit of how we are feeling sustainability in Coca-Cola. Okay? I'm not going to enter into too much detail, neither about programs, but a little bit about the flow, about how currently sustainability has evolved and is embedded into the strategy of the company. Let me start by sharing with you a secret. I don't like sustainability. I hate it. And the reason why is that I think, I'm talking about the word, sorry, just to be clear on that, just before you kill me. The reason why I don't like the word sustainability is because I think it has been overused, wrong used, and it has become many times the broken toy of a functional leader, of a business leader, or even a CEO. And that's why I'm normally a little bit, frustrated when I'm talking about sustainability. Saying that, I really believe this is really important. It's even critical. Sustainability, it's embedded in the definition of the word. It's about to be or not to be. It's about to survive. Can you imagine that somebody here launched a product or a company without the purpose of surviving? Nobody. So obviously, it's not a choice. We need to manage sustainable brands and business. And the question now is how you do that. To me, the answer to this question is quite easy. The only way to be successful addressing any matter regarding sustainability is you will find the answer in the capacity to respond to the changes that the society is asking you to face. It depends on the action that you will take to respond to these changes, and at the end, it will rely on the capacity to fulfill the needs of your consumers that are normally evolving time after time. We are a 130 years old brand. We are celebrating this anniversary this year. Don't think that because we are, let's say, a quite old brand, sustainability is granted. In your history, you will find a great legacy of experience, things that you can learn from, but you will never find the answer to solve the future. It will rely on you about how you want to preserve the brand, to preserve the company, and to deliver to the next generation a better brand and a better company than the one that we reserved from our predecessor. This is, in my opinion, what sustainability is about. As simple as that. So in the next minutes, I just want to bring you to follow me through three questions. The first one is a little bit more detail about how we are feeling sustainability in Coca-Cola. Second thing, how we have solved this tension between the strategy and the conversation with our consumers. And I will talk a little bit more about trust. And last, some of the lessons, very practical, about the journey we are just embedded. I've been working from this company for 23 years now. I'm very proud. I think I probably work in one of the most unique company and brand in the world. But when I started to work for Coca-Cola, I was single. I used to go to weddings and those kind of celebration. And normally at dinner, when they were asking you, where do you work for Coca-Cola, you were automatically exposed to two questions. The secret formula. I don't know the formula. Or maybe if I knew it, I was not here. I don't know the formula. And the second one was, who sells more, Coke and Pepsi? Normally, good friends used to say, Coke. We know that Coke sells more. Not all of them, okay? But those were the two main topics, honestly, and they continue to be, by the way. Coke was and continue to be, especially in the past, the mirror of its history. And the history is very much relied on the competitive advantage that Coke is, which is a combination of three elements: the product, the marketing, and its capacity, to be available in each single country of the planet, with the exception of a couple of countries. What happened now that the model is absolutely different? The business has changed. It's not only about your product, it's not only about your plants, it's not only about, machines, if I may say. There are other assets that are even more important, the one that they are called now intangibles, okay? So in this new model, it was important for us to shift and to start to position Coke on a better way than it was a few years ago. And that's the explanation of the 2020 vision that was created 4 years ago, where you can see, I don't want you to get into much detail on that, but it's just a combination of our promise, which is quite, again, intangible, when we tell to people that we are here to refresh the world, okay, and how we want to deliver this promise, okay? Again, tangible and intangible, getting together to try to redefine the relation that we want to have with the communities. As our chairman and CEO says just 1 week ago, we are here to manage the business for the next quarter century. So at the end, when we are talking about sustainability in Coca-Cola, it has two main components. It's about the business and the future. Again, as simple as that, business and future. Having that in mind, the question again is how? How we want to make that meaningful for our consumers and the rest of the stakeholders that we have in front of the business. Coke has a quite standard process to solve the majority of the tensions that we have to face as a business. That is to go outside there and ask to our consumers. And the first thing that it took us some time was just to understand that the reality is that those consumers, like you and me, were also in the middle of a huge change. While in the past, there was some barriers, some frontiers between our private life, our family, and our job, those barriers today no longer exist. I was reading yesterday on the newspaper that almost 90% of the companies use social network before they're going to interview a candidate. You can go, I'm sure for those of you that are using those social networks, you are sharing them a lot of information, a lot of information. When you apply those logic to corporation like us, you find a very similar answer, which is that the model, the business model, somehow has changed. We cannot wait, and to think that because somebody has a great idea and created a great computer or a unique soft drink, that will again bring success forever. We needed to find a way to manage that, to be sure that Coke, as a corporation, as a brand, will be sustainable. And the answer was very simple, was trust. This is what consumers were telling us that they were expecting Coke to deliver them. Trust. So how, as Coke executives, we decide, working with those consumers, on a quite simple way to try to define and to develop a framework to activate trust and to be able to manage those conversations with all our different stakeholders. 3 main drivers appears on the conversations around trust. The first one is about the brand. No surprise. We are what we are. We are very proud of the brand that we represent. And we want the brand to be, and to continue to be as unique, as authentic as it has been in the past, or even more. we need to have the best marketeers in the world. But that's not enough. By having or handling great conversation about the brand, consumers told us that it was not going to be enough. They were asking us more information about the corporation. Not many people know the difference between Coca-Cola and the Coca-Cola Company. Sometimes because we didn't help a lot. When the majority of the people tell me, where do you work? I say Coca-Cola. Well, the Coca-Cola Company is the largest beverage company in the world. We are the largest juice producers of the world. We are the largest manufacturer of bottled water in the world. And yes, we sell Coke. But we also serve more than 3,000 products additionally to Coke. So now, on the top of the brand conversation, we need to be ready to talk about us. To talk about us, about a corporation, and everything we do as a corporation, including portfolio, as well as financial results, about decisions about the business, about our sustainability initiatives, about everything. But again, that was not enough. Consumers were asking us more, even more. They were asking us to talk about the category. Because the category discussions and the category myths that they are many times exposed are for them, even sometimes more important than the brand and the company conversation. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that, Coca-Cola realized that there are other conversations that are even or the same important that the typical brand, themes that I used to talk about it when I was only 23 years younger? That's the reality. That's what they told us. No choice. So we just needed, to start the journey and to talk, naturally with our consumers and the rest of the stakeholders about those three themes. Don't think I may be a little bit romantic, but, I'm here to make my company win and make money. So what it was also very important for us was to understand the relevance between this trust model and the impact on sales and our results. And we work on a model to connect that and to try to predict if some conversation we're having around those three pillars, which are the potential impact that they may have on our sales and our results. So again, it's about trust, but we're very, very, mindset-oriented to result and to win in the market. What have we learned from this journey? I have just picked up a few ideas. I will be able to, to talk for days about the company and the brand. But, the one that I thought it was maybe more important for all of you. The first one is that you need to take risk. Otherwise, you will not going to progress, or you will never going to progress, with the expectation that normally your shareholders have about you. And again, you don't need to feel guilty. We are a company. The main purpose of a company is to make money. This is the reason why. We need to make money, and we need to deliver value to the shareholders. What has changed now? Mainly one thing. You cannot do that at any price. And we need to be consistent and responsible on delivering sustainable growth. To do that, many times, we are forced to take very difficult decisions. And again, we cannot feel guilty about it. Because by taking those difficult decisions, the majority of the time what we are doing is ensuring the mid and the long term of the corporation. The only thing we need to be ready is to explain ourselves, and to tell to the people, explain the reason why we are taking some decisions. The second thing is that it's a huge challenge, again, for us, because we were putting a lot of pressure to our marketing teams to talk about non-conventional themes. But it was critical for us to talk about these things in the same way we have been talking in the past about brand and marketing. Because at the end, trust is driven by emotions. If you think for a moment, in all the most important decisions that you are taking in your life, including going and voting in the election, buy a watch, buy a car, your wife, your husband, whatever, all these decisions are always driven by the emotions. Reasons only give you the rational. So the challenge for us was to keep, the focus in emotional communications, to be connected in the most effective way with our consumers. As a consequence of that, in the middle of the crisis, we have been exposed to a huge increase of emotional marketing, more based on the brand values than the product itself, because at the end, it's the only way to really connect emotionally with those consumers. Coke has always been there. Some other companies in Spain, not always, but it's interesting if you take some good example of advertising to see how companies that were running some kind of communication in the last 5, 3, 4 years during the crisis has switched totally in the way that they have been communicating to their consumers. Third, walk the talk. In other words, how the actions that you are taking are consistent and reinforce the positioning and the image of the company. There's always an extra pressure for Coke. Everything we do will be commented, sometimes will be an example for others. So there's a huge pressure on that. And again, a huge reach to take decision and to start run initiatives out of the scope of the center of gravity of the business. You need to deliver proof points, understanding that those proof points will automatically be asked to become future commitments. Those are the rules of the game. What you are delivering today is not enough. It's just the discussion for tomorrow. Fourth, be ready to be transparent. This is no longer an option, and I still surprised many times when we are talking some about senior leadership that say, I don't want the people to talk about that, or I don't know why that's important. Well, because it's not your choice, because people decide what is important or not for them. Again, our role and our challenge now is to manage the conversations about everything. And when I say everything, I say everything. And again, the level of surprise that you can face about conversation about Coke is huge. And it doesn't matter who you have in front. All the stakeholders has an opinion about Coke. This is part of the essence of the company and of the brand. Coca-Cola belongs to everybody, belongs to you. So our mission is to be ready to answer any question or any topic you may be interested about Coke. Fifth, corporate responsibility. You may notice that I have removed the word social. Well, it's about how corporations like us work to renew the license to operate. What that means? It's a big word. Yes, it is. I mean, we are, again, in more than 200 countries, investing with our bottling partners in plants, in terms of some resources like water, PIT. So again, we need to be sure that year after year, Coke is better perceived, to manage the business and to continue delivering growth in all these markets. All decisions taken in the business count and may damage your license to operate. And when I say all decision, it's all decision. It could be a financial one, it could be a legal decision, it will be a wrong marketing decision, whatever it is. But everybody in the company needs to understand that they have a little responsibility, to renew this license to operate that Coke has in every country that it operates. Because at the end, all of us are here to make the difference. This is what consumers are expecting from the industry at the moment. How we can really help to make the difference. Last but not least, it's about our employees. How we can better manage the engagement of our employees. They are not longer one additional stakeholder. They are the number one. They are on the center of gravity of the business. For those of you who are familiar with the Edelman Trust Barometer, this year shows again that employees are more credible than the CEOs. Can you believe that? Employees more credible than CEOs. Can you ignore that? I wonder you can't. And again, they are an unbelievable driver to manage your corporate reputation. So closing, I'm out of time, very typical from me. Just a few takeaways. Sustainability at Coke, at this moment, it's about the ability to respond to changes. It's about to prepare the business for the future, to promote trust among all of your stakeholders. It is a non-stop journey, and remain always humble, listen, and talk. My expectation for today was, to do not fall you asleep. I hope that you have taken at least one learning from our story. I just want to end by honoring one of our greatest leaders, our former president and COO, Don Keogh, that says 50 years ago that when you're comfortable, the temptation to keep taking risks is so great, it's almost irresistible. And failure is almost inevitable. Thank you.